Hey everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a chunky door knocker necklace. Now, originally I wasn't planning on doing a door knocker necklace per se. I was just going to do a chunky necklace with a big pendant, but when I finished mine, I thought that it was missing a little bit of something, and then it just clicked. Why don't I turn it into a door knocker? I got this pendant that is an animal head, so all I had to do was add this ring with some beads on it, and it makes a neat door knocker. Let's get started. You'll need thick, chunky chain, a lobster clasp, and some jump rings that are the correct size for said chain, needle nose pliers, a big metal pendant, a door knocker if you can find one, but if not, any animal head should work. I got one that looks like a jaguar. 2-part epoxy. If you can't find a door knocker pendant, you'll also need thick wire. I used some 12 gauge wire, wire cutters, some beads, a Dremel tool, and a file. Cut your chain down to about 16 inches. Attach a jump ring and lobster clasp to one side. You can attach another jump ring to the other side for the clasp to clasp on, but I figured it was big enough to clasp onto the existing chain, so I skipped the extra jump ring. My pendant had 2 parts, this black piece on the inside and then a crystal encrusted outer shell. I mixed up a bit of 2-part epoxy and glued these together. If your pendant is like this and you still need to convert it into a door knocker, I recommend skipping this step for now. Now to make the door knocker. As I mentioned before, I did this at the end after I finished the necklace, but I recommend doing this now because it would be so much easier to do all of this stuff without having to fuss with the chain. My pendant had a ring on the bottom to attach a bead or chain or whatever, but I didn't want it, so I just cut it off and sanded it smooth. Use a drill bit that's a tiny bit bigger than your wire to carefully drill 2 holes on either side of the animal's mouth. Mine had little crystals in the way, so I popped those out and it created a nice little divot for me to start drilling in. For ultimate safety, use a vise like this to hold the pendant instead of holding it with your hands. Now I would recommend epoxying the 2 pieces of the pendant together if yours was like mine and had the inside piece. It just gets in the way of trying to drill the holes. Cut a length of wire to create a ring that is a good proportion with your pendant. String some beads on for decoration. I did a small bead, a big bead, and then another small bead. Now stick each end of the wire into the holes that you drilled. Make sure they're in there good. If you find that the wire comes out too easily, you may have to drill the hole deeper, or you could just epoxy the wire in place. I tried as hard as I could to avoid having to epoxy it though, because I wanted it to be able to move. I was lucky and was actually able to thread mine completely through and put the seam of the wire at the bottom so it got covered up by the beads. If it's possible for you to do that, then I would highly recommend it. Lay the pendant down and arrange the beads at the bottom of the ring. Mix up some epoxy and carefully apply it to the beads to fix them in place. I wish I added extra smaller beads on either side so I could epoxy them around the mouth so the ring wouldn't be able to twist around like this. Oh well, that's always something that you guys could do. Once it's all cured, all that's left is to attach it to the chain. And again, I haven't made the pendant into a door knocker at this point in the video, so the pendant has no ring, but as I mentioned earlier, you should modify the pendant before attaching it to the chain. Find the midpoint of the chain. Mix up a good amount of epoxy and apply it to the back of the pendant towards the top. Lay the chain down into the epoxy, positioning the pendant evenly in the middle. Now let that cure completely. And then you're done. Now this nice big statement necklace is ready to be worn. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. I post art videos every Tuesday and DIY videos every Thursday. You can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Pinterest, and I'll leave the information to those down below. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.